Black Earth offers a full suite of humic solutions, from high-purity granules to powder, liquid, and soluble formulations, all powered by pure Humulite. Trusted by growers worldwide from one of the world's rarest Humulite reserves. Grow stronger with the power of Black Earth Humulite. Learn more from Mind to Market by visiting blackearth.com.
It's time for RealAg Radio on Rural Radio Channel 147 on Sirius XM. RealAg Radio and RealAgriculture.com is your home for insight and analysis of the issues that are impacting your farm business. Let's get real and get connected with RealAg Radio. Welcome to RealAg Radio here on Rural Radio 147, Sirius XM. Shaun Haney, your host here on this Tuesday edition of the show. Thanks so much, everybody, for making RealAg Radio and Rural Radio 147 a big part of your work day. And also a big shout out to everybody listening out there on the RealAg Radio podcast as well. Well, as you can hear or see if you're watching on YouTube, we are on location. We're at the Ag in Motion show just outside of Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, and we're in the AGI booth. Today's show is brought to you by AGI. Encourage you to go to aggrowth.com. They've got some fabulous innovations. One of the things that AGI is so famous for is innovation. They've got a really cool prototype auger here today. It is the EUTX 44, and it's pretty cool. We're going to hear a little bit about it as the show goes on. If you have any feedback on today's show, you can send me an email, shaney@realagriculture.com. You can also call the RealAg feedback line, 855-776-6147. So who are we going to hear from today? We're going to hear from Paul Brisebois. He is AGI Senior Vice President for North American Farm Business. And Paul and I are going to talk about the overall, what's going on in the farm economy? What are some of the trends? You know, Paul is somebody that travels across Canada, across the United States. He sees a lot of nooks and crannies. He may fly and be on the road more than I am. So I'm looking forward to hearing just kind of his perspective of what's going on. We're also going to hear about some of the innovations at AGI here from Paul as well. We're also going to talk to Kent Woods. Now, he is AGI's Director of Global Product Development. Product Management Engineering. He's going to talk about some of the new innovations here at AGI that they have at the Ag in Motion show. There's actually going to be some farmers seeing some demos here. They're going to be getting a chance to provide some feedback on some of the innovations that AGI has. We're going to hear a little bit more about that. And we've got Ron Kleuskins, who is AGI's dryer business development rep. We're going to talk about the dryer and the value of economics of having your own dryer. I think it's a very interesting conversation. We had a little bit of that conversation with AGI when we were at Commodity Classic, and I think it's an important decision. How many acres do I need? What crops do I have to be growing to justify it? Maybe, what are my harvesting, like what harvesting equipment do I currently have, and would a dryer be that second combine? Instead of going that direction, go more the dryer direction, extending the amount of harvesting you can do in a day, all in the sense of trying to find the best efficiency and productivity that we can on our farm. Like I mentioned, we are at AGI's booth. Go to aggrowth.com, and I really want to thank AGI and the entire team here for having us at Ag in Motion. AGI probably has one of the most impressive booths. Well, it's not even a booth. It's like a corner of the show where they've got all their dryers and different grain moving pieces of equipment here on site, plus I'll just call like a grain terminal behind me here, right on site here, just outside of Saskatoon in Langbank, Saskatchewan. And the weather's going to be a little bit chillier this week, which I think probably some people will be relieved from, as long as some of this smoke would find somewhere else to go while the show is going on. And we'll be here, of course, through the week. Tomorrow we'll be at the Invigor booth here at Ag in Motion. Okay, let's take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk to Paul Brisebois. We're going to find out what's going on in the farm economy in Canada and the U.S., and he'll join us when we come back. You're listening to RealAg Radio, Rural Radio 147.
The new Brandt XT grain cart delivers unmatched forward auger reach, side auger reach, and discharge spout clearance for easy positioning, with sight lines that allow you to actually see what you're doing while you're doing it, saving you time with each load and getting you back to the combine sooner. They say hindsight is 20/20. We say seeing what's in front of you is better. Lead the field with the new XT grain cart from Brandt.
Peter Johnson at Wheat Pete, RealAgriculture.com, and what an opportunity! Oh my gosh! You think you can't grow better wheat? You are absolutely wrong. We're going to show you how to strive for those record wheat yields that they get in the UK and in New Zealand. You can grow 150 bushel wheat. I'll show you how.
Catch Wheat Pete's Word every Wednesday on RealAgriculture.com or download the podcast on iTunes or Spotify.
If you're involved in the agriculture industry, it's important to stay informed on all the latest issues affecting your business. At RealAgriculture.com, we offer fast, reliable news, information, and insights to help you keep on top of all of the latest in Canadian agriculture. Visit RealAgriculture.com and sign up for our free daily newsletter covering everything from news, agronomy, animal agriculture, and much more. Visit RealAgriculture.com/subscribe today.
And welcome back to RealAg Radio, broadcasting here from the Ag in Motion show, where today's show is brought to you by AGI. Make sure you go to egggrowth.com to find out more. Okay, joining us right now is Paul Brisebois. He is AGI's Senior Vice President of North American Farm. Paul, it's great to chat with you again.
Good to see you, Shaun.
Yeah, so it's going to be a good show here, I think, this week.
Yeah, really looking forward to it. This is the biggest show for us in Western Canada. We always get a lot of farmers, dealers coming out to the show. And we have a lot of innovation here this year.
Yeah, and is that the key, is to kind of just try to, no matter what the farm economy is doing, just continue to bring innovations to the marketplace?
I would say, yeah, Shaun, it's always about bringing innovation. And the reality is, in tougher years, the focus is on more innovation. It's how do you differentiate your products? How do you add value to the farmers? How do you bring products that are more efficient, that make them more money in the end? And by doing that, you drive demand for your products.
Well, I said in the intro that you're a guy that gets around across Canada, across the United States. You talk to just as many people as I do, probably cover just as many air miles as I do. So I really seek your input. What's your perception right now of the farm economy?
Shaun, it's a tough farm economy. We've been in it for a long time. We've had a great run in terms of the farm economy. But this year's a little tougher. I'd say, up until the end of 2023 was a phenomenal run. And right at the end of 23 going into 24, it slowed down considerably. Yeah. And that was driven by commodity prices. So low commodity prices made it very challenging for producers, high input costs, and essentially when you do that, your bottom line is impacted. And if your bottom line is impacted and farmers aren't making money, it's difficult for them to spend money.
Yeah, we're looking at the third year forecasted for the U.S. corn grower to lose money per acre, right? I think this year it's forecast to be about $160 an acre loss. So that makes sense. We know this. What you said there is not a surprise. Mm-hmm. What does that mean for the machinery market? We've seen a real pullback in equipment sales in the U.S., even more so than Canada. Canada's actually been a little bit of a bright light, maybe, in comparatively. So how does that impact that market? Just slow spending?
It's slow spending. Yeah, absolutely. So there was a significant buildup in regards to equipment at dealerships in 23 and then into 24, the first half of 24. And now, second half of 24 and for most of 25, our role is just helping our dealers try to lower that inventory that's on stock. And we're doing that through rebates on our equipment, trying to incentivize as much as possible for farmer demand on our products. We know that typically in years where it's a little tougher, we have high demand for parts and service. Yep. So making sure that we have good parts available and that we're there to support our dealers. We know that the market's going to come around again, but right now we're in a dip.
Yeah, and something like retrofitting that you hear, I hear more about that right now.
Yeah, absolutely. So, farmers are no different than a manufacturing company, right? You look at your bottom line, you say, how much can I spend on CapEx this year? At the end of the day, you know that you have fixed costs that you got to take care of. You're always going to put in a crop. But do you need to fix that, buy a new auger? Do you need to buy a new conveyor? Or do you need to fix it? And typically in tougher times, they choose fixing it.
Well, and I think one of the things requires discipline for a company like AGI or even the farmer is to not lose sight of what out past this year, right? So, you can't abandon innovation and research and development. And the farmer has to pay attention to maybe I can't get by with a couple of these old augers that I have. I got to, still keep in mind the replacement and those kind of decision making, but it can become really easy to become undisciplined in this kind of time.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm always amazed at the resilience of farmers.
Yeah.
Through good times, through tough times, most of them really have a longer term view of their farm, generational farms. And they have a longer-term view in terms of CapEx spend and what they want to do in terms of future use of that farm to make sure that they have efficiency. So it's one of the things that I find amazing on our storage business, as an example.
Yeah.
Bins last a long time.
They do.
But the reality is we continue to sell bins every year, and it doesn't go down. And the reason for that is farmers they're expanding their operations. They're looking for more efficiency. They know, in particular, in low commodity markets, there's value in storing and marketing your grain.
Yeah, taking advantage of that carrying cost.
Totally.
Yeah.
And they math that out pretty quickly. And that's why we continue to see strong demand on our storage business.
Yeah, and then that's kind of what maybe makes Western Canada a little bit different in the fact there was a lot of on-farm storage going back to the wheat board days, but other areas of Eastern and Central Canada as well as the U.S. Midwest kind of just getting on this train.
Yeah, absolutely. And just going back to Western Canada, what you would have seen and grown up with is hopper bottom cones, right?
Yeah.
All across the West because of our diverse nature of all the crops that we grow. And what you're seeing is a trend moving away from the hopper cones to larger flat bottom bins. As growers have gotten larger, yields have gotten more, and maybe a little less diversity. So you have more canola, more wheat in general versus the specialty crops. And you're seeing growers going with larger flat bottom bins versus the cones that they've done in the past.
Well, I'm glad that bins last a long time. They're not like it's not like the dishwasher or the washer and dryer where remember how long they used to last.
Yeah, exactly.
Bins last a long time. And it's a good thing for it. Why that move? We've figured out how to clean out flat bottom bins a lot better than we did in the past.
Yeah, that's one of them. So the bin unloads on flat bottom bins are very good. It's just again the volume that you can put in a flat bottom bin. So your hopper cones will go up to call it 10 or 15,000 bushels. And your flat bottom bins you can get all the way up to 1 million bushels from a commercial application. So it just gives you, it's far more efficient to have large flat bottom bins. And the reality is, if you take it to the next level with permanent handling, that's even more efficient. And you see that trend happens a lot more in the Midwest of the U.S. with corn being one of the biggest crops.
And so by that you mean getting away from moving grain by a mobile auger. You've got a permanent structure, almost like you have a grain terminal on site.
Totally.
Is that okay?
That's exactly it. And at the end of the day, that's ultimately the most efficient way to do it, right? You drive in, you dump your grain in a pit, goes up into the elevator system and into the bins. So
does that not cannibalize some of your larger auger business?
It does. It does cannibalize that business, absolutely. And it's something that we've thought about a lot. And the reality, though, is that not everybody can afford a permanent handling system.
Yeah.
So we continue to see strong demand for augers. We continue to invest in our auger and conveyor business because we believe that the portable handling business will be around for a long time, even though there's a permanent handling trend that happens in the market.
Are there any other trends that are developing in the grain handling industry that you've seen?
I would say like I was talking about is the move to larger bins is one. And then the continued use of bin monitoring, grain monitoring in the bins.
That's also enabled to go to larger storage structures because we can actually see what's happening.
Yes.
Because previously what we were worried about, I got to keep the 5,000 bushel bin because if I lose a bin, I'm not losing 25,000. Well, we didn't have the monitoring equipment.
Right. And now, in Western Canada, most of the bins are monitored. And that trend has been going on for, I would say, a decade now.
Yeah.
In the U.S., it's starting to pick up more. So we have very good traction with our AGI SureTrack bin monitoring system, and more growers are going to bin monitoring through that system.
Yeah. Are there any other overall top trends you're seeing in the ag equipment industry right now?
The automation side of things.
Yeah.
So whatever we can do from an automation side, whatever we can do from a safety perspective, anything that drives efficiencies. So if you can, as an example, on an auger or a conveyor, turn that operation from a 2-person job or a one-person job where they're going back and forth to where they're managing it from their phone, and it's a very safe environment, then that drives efficiencies, drives safety, and is something that producers are looking for. So, that's where we continue to invest, is with regards to automation, safety, efficiency, and capacity of the augers as well.
Yeah, and I think a lot of times when we think about automation, we think about the tractor. We think about out in the field or in the dairy barn. We don't necessarily always think about grain handling equipment, but it actually makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Because it's still a little bit person-powered, man-powered, and that's not as easy at certain times of the year, especially with some of the labor shortages and things like that. So that's an area that I haven't thought about a lot. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. If you think about it, at harvest, a truck pulls up. If it's dumping from the bottom, we either have an extend or a swing auger that will come under that. So that operator has to get out of the truck, move the auger in place, dump the load, or start the auger, dump the load, get it all lined up. If, as an example, and some of the things that we're thinking about, if that driver can pull up and then from the cab move the swing auger or the extend underneath the truck, from the cab open up the gate, start the auger first, open up the gate, and be able to load without getting out of the truck, that's so much more efficient.
Yeah.
And safer for our farm customers.
Well, Paul, AGI has manufacturing facilities in Canada and the United States, and if there's a way to move grain and oil seeds, you're working on it.
That's right.
But I got to ask you, as a manufacturer using a lot of steel, and you're in this game of manufacturing, there's a lot of pressure right now when it comes to something like tariffs.
Yeah.
How are you managing your supply chain? Has your supply chain changed? Are you changing it? Is it kind of, we'll wait and see? How are you steering through that to make sure you still can have the product delivered to the customer at the price that really they're willing to pay?
Yeah, Shaun, it's challenging. And even though I've been in the business for more than 25 years, every year is different. Every single year. So you think about, through the tariffs and supply chain issues, what happened with steel pricing, with steel availability. There was a lot of management with regards to what we did with our steel and the pricing side. Right now with tariffs, I can tell you that on a daily basis, early days when the tariffs were applied, we were talking about tariffs as a team every day, trying to understand, well, how do we manage this? How do we manage steel going across, whether it's raw steel coming into Canada and then finished steel going back, or vice versa? And it's kind of taken away from the focus that we need to have on our customer and the innovations and how do we do more business with our customers in a better way. And it's focused us internally, unfortunately, in terms of trying to manage these tariffs, so that, just like you said, we're at a competitive price that makes sense for our customers, and we're doing as well as we can from managing our margins.
Yeah, the people in procurement departments, they are more than earning their pay in times like this, trying to manage all that.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Absolutely. Procurement and logistics.
Yeah.
So the additional paperwork that it takes for shipping product across borders just is a big challenge. The timing it takes, so deliveries get slowed down. It's been a challenge for sure, and we're hoping that the end is in sight at some point.
Yeah, certainty.
Yeah.
Right? Some market certainty.
Totally.
For sure. Well, hey, Paul, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, I want to ask you a few questions about some of the innovations you have on site here and get your thoughts on that. You got a few more minutes for me?
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Okay, we are broadcasting here from the Ag in Motion show just outside of Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, brought to you today by AGI.
At Proven Seed, we know that farming in Western Canada doesn't just teach us, it shapes us. Here we face challenges with resilience, innovation, and grit born from decades of experience. We battle the conditions again and again because growing crops here isn't just what we do, it's who we are. We're raised to adapt just like you, with varieties grown specifically for your local conditions. Visit provenseed.ca/raised to adapt to hear our story.
Hi, I'm Bernard Tobin, host of the Soybean School on RealAgriculture.com. Throughout the year, on the Soybean School, we'll bring you timely agronomic video content from planting to harvest, from the latest agronomic research to the latest in production technology. Check out our massive video library on YouTube, RealAgriculture.com, or download the audio podcast versions wherever you get your podcasts. The Soybean School is brought to you by Mazik Seeds and Lalamon Plant Care.
The Canola School on RealAgriculture.com is a video series that showcases the latest in canola research and production agronomy. Learn from some of the best at your own pace through quick and timely producer-focused videos available on our YouTube channel. The Canola School on RealAgriculture.com is the quickest way to keep up to date on all the latest in canola production. Boost your canola IQ with the Canola School, brought to you by BASF, and visit canolaschool.com.
Welcome back to RealAg Radio, broadcasting from the Ag in Motion show here in the AGI booth. Encourage you to go to aggrowth.com to find out more. Really have a look at the product SKUs here. If there's a way to move grain and oil seeds, AGI has thought of it, and they're bringing more and more innovations to the market all the time for farmers across Canada, the United States, and really the world, as we see AGI all the time at Agritechnica as well. Okay, we're talking here with Paul Breezewell. He's AGI Senior VP of North American Farm. Paul, we talked about innovation. We're going to have a few of your colleagues at AGI here join us in a second. But just from an overall ARC standpoint, innovation and the investment in it. Mm-hmm. Farmer feedback. What I've heard is you got some dealers and some farmers coming in here to provide some feedback on some of the new innovations. Why do you do that?
Well, it's voice of the customer. So that's what's critical to us. We always go out and seek on an annual basis and actually more than once a year, talking to our producers and saying, what do we need to do to make these our equipment better? How do we drive efficiencies? How do we drive capacity? How do we drive safety on the farm as you use our products? And the same goes for talking to our dealers. Our dealers touch our products every day. They're either assembling them, they're working on them, and they're giving us feedback to say, okay, this is a better way to assemble to make this unit go together better. Here are some points where we need to improve it. And the reality with innovation is it's constant. We're constantly innovating, whether it's big innovations that we look for that really are game changers to our business, or the small detailed innovations that, quite honestly, make a big difference to that assembler that's putting the unit together. Yeah. It's always a focus every day in terms of what we're trying to do.
So, we talk about a lot of machinery and equipment and different technologies here at Real Agriculture and RealAg Radio. How much innovation is left, in the auger space, as an example, right? Because, I think, but you make a good point, though. Small innovations that make some productivity differences, right?
Yeah, absolutely. We came out with a UCX conveyor, so it's a U-trough conveyor.
Yeah.
This was probably about 4 years ago, and again, the natural thinking is you're just moving grain. What are you going to do to change this? The reality is, with the U-trough conveyor, the capacity went up by 50%. It was incredible.
That's a big difference.
And so when you get that kind of capacity, you get efficiencies on the farm. And farmer feedback was, "Wow, I can load a truck in 5 minutes. Yeah. That saves me a ton of time, right?" Yeah. And it's all about getting efficiencies.
And seed safety. Very important in some of the pulse crops, some of the oil seeds, especially as we push that oil content higher. Mm-hmm. We need to move that grain with a little bit more TLC. We just can't ram it up the auger and
totally
dump it in the bin.
Yeah, And traditionally, that's a great point, Shaun. Traditionally, conveyors didn't have as much capacity as the augers.
Right.
So that was the true innovation of the UCX, is the ability to take a belt and get to the capacity of an auger.
That's pretty cool stuff.
Yeah.
And the smart side of things, right? Like the monitoring. Like, do we have the capacity yet to be able to know like throughput, like where we've like, hey, like at harvest time, like we're measuring like that kind of stuff?
Right.
Are we there yet?
We're not there yet.
Okay.
But that's a great point. Those are the innovations that we're looking at, and similar, no different than when you have your truck, right? You look at all the statistics on the truck, you know where it is, you know your fuel efficiency, all of that, right?
Yeah.
We want the same things on our equipment, right? So we want to know what the capacity is, how many hours we've used that equipment, what the wear points are. So when do we need to service this effectively?
Important. That helps the longevity.
100%. And so those are the kind of things that we're working on for the future to really drive more innovation. And you know, the difficult part is you got to manage the price point. Right. Because
I think that's a really good point, because that's a cool feature that, you know, there's a percentage of the market that would use that. But if we do that, it actually increases across the entire SKU by X percent. Kind of doesn't make it necessarily a fit anymore in the marketplace. Like those kind of decisions as a product manager, they're going through that all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's, again, where you have that voice of customer and you're talking to customers and saying, what's the value proposition?
Yeah, that's cool. I would never use it. Like,
right.
That kind of stuff.
Totally. That happens all the time. And those are the things you want to try and avoid.
Yeah. Good point.
Right? You want to make sure that there's something that's really driving value that a customer will pay for.
Great stuff. Well, Paul, again, thank you for having RealAg Radio here at AGI's booth here at Ag in Motion. I really do appreciate it. It's always great to do Farm Show live on locations here with AGI. Thank you so much, and keep up the great work.
Excellent. Thanks, Shaun.
Awesome stuff.
Okay.
That is Paul Brisebois with AGI, and we are broadcasting here from Ag in Motion, as I mentioned. Make sure you go to aggrowth.com to learn more about some of the innovations we've been chatting about. When we come back, we're going to hear ourselves about some of those innovations. Kent Woods will be with us right after this.
Soil health is under pressure, but real solutions start below the surface. Black Earth offers a full suite of humic solutions, from high-purity granules to powder, liquid, and soluble formulations, all powered by pure Humulite. Formulated for performance, backed by consistency, trusted by growers worldwide from one of the world's rarest reserves. Grow stronger with the power of Black Earth Humulite. Learn more from Mine to Market at blackearth.com.
It's summertime, and you've got a lot of important decisions to make when it comes to your corn crop. Let the Corn School on RealAgriculture.com help guide you through those big decisions with input from leading experts in the field. If it's spray timing, disease identification, or any other field issue, the Corn School's got you covered. The Corn School on RealAgriculture.com. Brought to you by BASF and Pride Seeds.
And welcome back to RealAg Radio here on Roll Radio 147, Sirius XM. And for all of our listeners across Canada and the United States, we are here at Ag in Motion, just outside of Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. Some forest fire issues in Saskatchewan. It's a little smoky here. The temperature could come up a little bit as well, but we're having a great time, and crowd should be fantastic here today. Joining us right now is Kent Woods. He's AGI's Director of Global Product Management Engineering. Kent, it is so great to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well. Pleasure. Yeah.
Great stuff. So where are you based out of?
Based out of Swift Current, Saskatchewan. Spend time between Swift Current and Winnipeg working with AGI. So
yeah. Speedy Creek.
Speedy Creek, you got her, yeah.
Yeah. It's how are the crops out there?
You know what? Obviously, we could have probably used a little rain earlier on, and we've had a few lately, so better than what they've been, but still always room for improvement, right? We always want a little bit better in crop-wise. But yeah.
Traditionally, short grass country.
Definitely, yeah.
You farm for drought maybe 3 out of 5 years. I don't know, something like that. But it's just
after a few good years of it, the last 3 or 4 have been pretty tough in Swift Current area, but this year is definitely a little bit better, but you're always hoping for improvement, I guess, in our area.
Yeah, I would consider that area kind of as far as moving grains and oilseeds, we've got special crops, we've got canola, we've got cereals. So we're looking for a lot of diversity in the way that we're moving grain. Here today, AGI has 4 innovations that you're showcasing. Let's talk about them.
Yeah, it's an exciting year around AGI as far as what we've done. We've kind of went from last year's Ag in Motion and trying to develop innovations for what we've heard the market wanted, right? So it was, safety, fuel efficiency, more or less just works. And that's where we went through. So we have 4 key units that we're kind of talking about here this week and implemented. And first one being our STX3 diesel, which is like a direct drive unit running on a diesel. It's first of its kind as far as a direct drive, all PTO driven in the market. You eliminate the belt needs, which is always something that for an auger or a conveyor tend to be a slip issue or a problem area, and you made it a direct drive unit. Added a couple neat innovations, upgraded the hopper on it, the chains. So basically what we did is everything that I heard about for voice of customer and voice of market for the last year, we tried to implement. So we've really tried to focus on our customers. That's what we want to do here at AGI, is solve the needs of our customers to make their job easier. The more efficient our customers are, the happier they are with us, and that's where we want to take it. So really striving on our product development here moving forward for customer-oriented.
So that's the STX3 high torque diesel auger, and then we also have the UCX4.
Yeah, the UCX4. So that's our diesel offering of our UCX3. We built off the great success we've had with our UCX3. So it was originally was the first U-trough auger high capacity in the market. So now you go to the diesel end, and once again, it comes down to what your customers need. So instead of having a gas and diesel tanks, you have just a diesel, so it's operating, right? The high torque value allows you to push through those difficult crops, allows you to keep moving through it, but just more efficient, better runtime. Hook it up to an unload or a hopper bin and just let it go. And it's been a great unit on the initial trial. So every unit we've had out testing for over a year now, just on real life farm testing, millions of bushels put through them, trying to get them to be where we are happy with what it was. And it wasn't our group that was doing it, it was actually the farmer. So we have 4 or 5 test sites that we worked with, and it's all going all the time.
You know, one of the smell that reminds me of the farm is like diesel fuel in the morning. Like that just triggers thoughts of childhood.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, you think to winter and diesels and a tough time to start, but these units, we've had great success. We've been through a couple different iterations on what we chose for our diesel motors, our diesel engines. And I think
that's the Saskatchewan winter.
That's Saskatchewan winter. So we're talking minus 30, minus 40, and literally it was hours on them. And that was our whole group. Really, we put a real-time testing motion on to make sure that they were prepared for our Canadian winters, U.S. hot summers, whatever it is, both ways. So.
Now, we also have the FX4 for what we're saying for mid-market. So what is that?
Basically, it's a simplicity. It comes down to, we have the UCX4, which does all commodity stuff, and we really needed that unit that could be just for our pulse crops, or your wheat and stuff like that. For people that aren't going to be moving the canola and doing that, they still need that middle market unit, and this does that. It's a simple gas over hydraulic unit, so it's gas engine, but it's driven by a hydraulic pinch point. So you eliminate the tough engineering around an S drive, and you just have a pinch point drive, and you have stuff like that. So simplicity of it, so you can get under and unload. It's got a real low profile hopper on it, or that way. It does have a wheel move kit on it. It's just a rear wheel move drive, but easy access, easy to use. There's not a lot that can go wrong with it. That was the whole innovation of it, is how do we make it, the simplicity of it, to have the farmer so he can have it get up and run, and it just works.
It does a lot of different things for that mid-size market.
Mid-size market, exactly, right? So things like that. Obviously, with hydraulics, you're always worried about cold weather and how they aren't as easy to use in the cold weather. So you incorporate a metal hydraulic tank, and you add a hydraulic heater into it and stuff like that. So you make sure you have it, and it's the same thing. Without doing the testing that we've done to ensure that we're ready for these applications, you don't truly know it, but we've done that. So I look forward to it.
Yeah, in the opening of the show, I was talking about this EUTX44, the E-auger. Now, this is a prototype, correct?
This is a prototype. So this is the first of our, for us, obviously. This is the first showing of it. I wouldn't call it an e-auger. I'd call it a smart auger.
Like smart auger.
It's got the technology and advancements that we've made through the smart technology is where the excitement is.
Okay.
To put a battery power or diesel or gas is one thing, but the fact that it's a smart auger, it helps you on your efficiencies. It has cameras for censoring, so human detection.
Okay.
So it'll shut down when you have the whole idea is that eventually you get to the point where you're sitting in your truck and you press a button and your augers will run for you.
Oh,
so
in the winter that would just be
wonderful. So it takes what could be a 3 or 4 man operation and turns it into a 1 man operation. And that's the ultimate goal for it right now. Where, like I said, it's in the prototyping stages.
So fully electric, smart auger, automation, safety, sustainability,
everything.
Yeah. You got every key word possible right there.
That's the idea, and it is impressive. We teamed up with a group from the U.S. by the name of Monarch, and they specialize in probably
like Monarch tractors.
You got it.
Oh, okay,
so
cool.
Monarch Tractor is who we teamed up with, and basically they're the leader in electrified tractors for the U.S. and the vineyards and stuff like that. So all the platform is based off
It's running right now.
It is running right now. You can hear it starting to run right now.
A prototype that works. That's good. Well, you want to make sure the prototype works.
Well, it definitely does work. It runs and it does everything that way for sure.
Well, there's probably everybody can't see it, but there's a good crowd around it, and the idea here is again that farmer feedback, that farmer focus to what do they like, what don't they like? Is that kind of the stage we're at here?
That's the stage we're at. It's like what do you think are the must-haves or the stuff that are going to tie into what the future is, and that's basically what this e-auger is where we go with it. Obviously, one of the concerns with farming as a whole has always been safety, right? We run into issues on the farms and augers and stuff like that. So you're trying to build that in to eliminate those needs so that our kids, when they're running around the farmyard, are safe. And that's what this does. It takes everything to a next level for sure.
Yeah. In all seriousness, augers are one of the things we use on the farm that we work around them a lot. We make some regrettable decisions, and we all know somebody, or maybe some of our listeners themselves, they've had an accident with an auger, and it's so more safety is good.
Exactly. Anything you can do in any kind of market is always safety is better off for it. It's got safety start features, stop start features on it. If you're filling up the truck and it gets to the point, it's got a sensor to realize how far it is. It'll automatically start shutting down. It's got a bunch of different things built into it that'll just allow it to be the smartest auger in the marketplace right now.
Okay, so because we have it here, let's talk about the trajectory on a product like this. So we have it here. It's a prototype. How long did it take to get to here?
This was quick because of teaming up with Monarch. Honestly, with Monarch having the specialty between the e-tractor and building off their platform and the successes that they've had in the last 5 years with their tractor, their tractor is fully autonomous to a level that
it's pretty cool. I've seen it.
Yeah, so I think we started the project in January, and we're sitting here in
wow, okay, that's fast.
January
that
with a working e-auger in July, like really fast. So it's been 6 to 7 months of really work to crunching to focus on this, and it hasn't been so much like the electric drivetrain, like I said, but it's been all the smart features.
Okay. So we get feedback here, we go back to, fix some stuff. When would that be when are we hoping this is in the marketplace?
There's always a hope. Obviously, with anything we do with AGI, like I've mentioned, we're going to put it through strenuous testing. Yeah. So a Canadian winter, right? When we talk about e-augers, you're in batteries, and we have designed this with a thermal management system, so it should work in below minus 40 Fahrenheit and 40 Celsius. So we have testing to do on that, but ultimately, in a perfect world, we'd be launching next year, 2026.
It's next year. It's maybe in the row with the others. Yeah. Wow, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah,
and you think about electric though too. At a bin site, a lot of bin sites have power to that it kind of fits naturally into a farmer's working vineyard.
Yeah, and we've designed it so that it's got a long life battery for what I would consider for an auger. Right, we have 4 hours of typical full load runtime on that battery, which correlates somewhere between 20 to 25 super beefs full of grain, which is a good day of work. It also has an onboard charging, though, where I can plug it in right away if we're having a little bit of a downtime, and it will fast charge and you can have it that way, or trickle charge it all through the day. So we didn't make it, it's more of a dual hybrid unit because we need that for the Canadian market, right?
You got a cool job.
Yeah, it's a great job.
You do have a cool, you do, when I hear engineering, I'm like, oh man, I gotta deal with engineers all the time. But when you get to listen to what farmers are saying.
Yeah.
What do they need? What would help with their productivity? And you get to make products that make a difference for them. Like that's a really cool job.
100%. It's the whole thing about product management is the voice of the customer, the voice of the market. Where do we go next, right? People look around an auger and go, what can you innovate next?
Well, I asked Paul that question. Like, how much innovation is left in augers?
It never ends.
Yeah.
You're one good dream away from having the next innovation. That's what I always say. Like there is so much room for improvement on everything that you do. How you make it safer? How do you make it more efficient? How do you take a 40 horsepower motor and, the same work with the 20 horse? There's always room for improvement.
And there's going to be successes, and there's probably some products that you've brought to market where you're like, you know what, I think this is like this. You're charged up about it, and it's like, yeah, okay.
You have successes, you have failures, but you know what? The whole goal is to make the market better and have a whatever the customer needs, and to get that for sure.
Fail fast,
I guess. Yeah. I'm hoping that we don't.
Exactly.
You're always hoping we don't do that, but that's the AGI way right now. When we've done it, though, is we've focused more on testing, and we're having the real life of it. So any market that we've progressed here is going to work, and that's the whole idea. Just work. That's what you talk about the farmers, and no matter what you discussions, it's just work, and that's where we're at.
Great stuff, Kent. This has been great to get the chance to chat with you get to meet you, and congratulations on the prototype here, the EUTX 44. Congrats, and look forward to hearing what the farmers say about it.
Thank you very much.
Pleasure. Awesome stuff. That is Kent Woods. He is AGI's Director of Global Product Management Engineering, based out of Swift Current, Saskatchewan, home of the Swift Current Broncos.
You got her, yeah. Go Broncos.
Go Broncos. Okay, we'll be right back on RealAg Radio, Rural Radio 147, brought to you by AGI right after this. Built on over 100 years of seed innovation and unwavering commitment to farmers, Pioneer 100 Series canola hybrids deliver a step change in yield performance and agronomic traits. This isn't just better canola, it's different canola. Pioneer 100 Series. Contact your local Pioneer sales representative or visit pioneer.com/100 series to learn more today.
How's your seed quality? What should you treat with? What about herbicide carryover and environmental concerns? Spring is here, and you've got a lot of things to think about in regards to your pulse crop. The Pulse School on Real Agriculture has information and advice for all these questions and more to help you navigate this season. Brought to you by BASF. Pulse School episodes are available at pulseschool.com, realagriculture.com, or as a podcast on your favorite streaming service. Download the latest episode today.
And welcome back to RealAg Radio, broadcasting here from the AGI booth, and we're at Ag in Motion in Langbank, Saskatchewan.
Langham. Frigid.
Did I say Langbank?
You said Langbank.
I said Langbank. We're in Langham.
It's close counts. It's Saskatchewan.
Yeah, it's just outside of Saskatoon.
Correct.
Yes, okay, good stuff. We're joined here by Ron Kleuskins. He's AGI's Dryer Business Development Rep. How are you doing, Ron?
Good.
Where are you based out of?
Exeter, Ontario.
Okay. Yeah. How are the crops there?
Excellent.
Yeah,
everything looks great.
Corn's like shoulder high.
It's getting there. Yeah, we've had a great beginning of the year here.
Yeah.
Good planting conditions and everything. We get lots of rain in southern Ontario, so
you do that.
Never an issue. We're surrounded by lakes.
Yeah. No, there's always seems like there's sort of some mild panic at the beginning of the season. Soil's not fit, too wet, too dry. And it just always seems like at the time of the year, and it's just crops are pretty good in Ontario.
Yeah, no, they always come along.
Yeah.
Everybody wonders at the beginning of the year, but everything pops up and then optimism starts again.
Okay, so today we're going to talk about the decision. Mm-hmm. I find this a fascinating discussion. At what point does it make sense for me to have my own dryer?
Yeah.
Is there a complicated answer, or is it a pretty simple answer?
No, it's a pretty simple answer. Is most guys can benefit from a dryer because they put their future and their own economics in their own hands. Even a small operator with a couple hundred acres can benefit from, say, an in-bin storage dryer. Yeah. And when guys, and I think primarily of corn, get to 300 or 400 acres, going to a continuous flow dryer, the economics is very good.
Makes sense.
They essentially dry for half of what an elevator would charge them. So that's money in their pocket.
Yeah, and well, hey, money in the pocket's good, because I was talking to Paul earlier in the show. We were talking about some of the farm economic situation. It's wouldn't call it exceptionally bright. There's some challenges out there, so more money in my pocket is a good thing.
Absolutely, yeah, and it, like I said, it puts the crops in the farmer's hand. They've done all the work to get it in the ground, look after it during the season, and now it comes time for harvest. They're not relying on Mother Nature all the time.
I've had different farmers say to me, like, it's like having a stationary combine in the yard.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah. When we first really introduced our dryers out here in Western Canada, Saskatchewan, Alberta, we found lots of guys that had numerous combines, but they were always waiting for Mother Nature to get the crop fit.
Yep.
And when it was fit, they had to go. So they had to own however many combines. Some of them might have had 6, 8, 10 combines. With a dryer, you can get in the field a little earlier, forget about a combine, which also means that you don't have an additional operator working for you. And field losses and whatnot are a thing of the past if you own your own machine.
So talk about some of the the fuel efficiency and some of, like, because I think if you don't have a dryer, you're sort of like, oh man, what are some of the costs to operate that sucker?
Yeah, well, there is a cost to operating it, and you are responsible for your own crop. Then you got nobody to blame but yourself.
That's
right?
True too. Yeah.
But cost wise, like I said earlier, you can essentially dry for half of what an elevator is going to charge you, and by getting in the field earlier, you eliminate a lot of the field losses you have. With our mixed flow dryers, our Nico mixed flow dryers, the way that we introduce the air into the crop itself, into the grain columns, we utilize as close to 100% of the fuel that we're putting into the dryer.
Oh, wow.
To dry the grain. It's just the basics of how a mixed flow dryer works. And we use lower CFM, so we're gentler on the crop.
Yeah, which is important.
It's super important because the quality coming out is what everybody's after also.
Now, Ron, I'm going to go on the assumption that a lot of people, or my perception is, a lot of people make the assumption you have to be a very large commercial operation to make this leap. But maybe that's changing, or that you just say that perception's wrong.
No, that perception is definitely wrong. Again, it's taking control of your own future, essentially, your own destiny when it comes to the revenue that you can generate off the crops that you put in the ground. And by having a grain dryer, your destiny is in your own hands, essentially.
Yeah. Well, you said start harvest earlier, but it's also harvest a wider window in any given day, especially out here in Western Canada. Once that calendar kind of flips to September, the harvest window sort of really shrinks on a day-to-day basis.
Absolutely.
So that you get more hours done in a week, no matter what those conditions are.
Absolutely. I mean, if you get dew in the morning on your crops, you can still go at it. There is a cost to drying that grain, but you're, again, like I said, you're not relying on Mother Nature to dictate when your combine gets into the field. You can combine in the morning a little earlier. You'll dry that crop, and then by the afternoon it may have dried off already, and it goes directly into a bin.
I just want to circle back for a second for farmers that haven't had experience with dryers. When we say mixed flow, what do we mean?
So the mixed flow in Western Canada, I guess the most popular mix flow would have been the Vertec back in the day.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nico actually purchased the drawings from Vertec, so ours is essentially an offshoot of a Vertec, with a lot of modifications.
Yeah, this is not Grandpa's Vertec.
This is not Grandpa's Vertec. This is Grandpa's grandson's Vertec now, so to speak. It's come into the 21st century.
Yeah. So where are we going with innovation on dryers then?
Well, last year we introduced a cleaning system that we're putting on our dryers.
Important.
They're available. Makes a huge difference in the efficiency of the dryer because we're not drying fines anymore. Mm-hmm. Mixed flow dryers have always had a bad rap about being dirty because we expel some fines out of the dryers. The cleaning system really cuts that down by as much as 75-80%.
Oh, wow.
Which is huge, especially if the wife doesn't like fines all over her roses in the yard and stuff.
Yeah.
And we've also introduced this year a shroud system, reintroduced it. We've had one for a long time, but we've reintroduced it with some modifications so that it just makes it that much easier to clean the machine. And that really restricts whatever fines do come out of the dryer from flying around the yard.
Yeah, because in the old days, dryer fires were like a major concern.
Yeah. And our cleaning system, between the cleaning system and the shroud, not going to say it's going to eliminate it because that's not realistic, but it really reduces the potential for having a fire because we don't have the fines floating around in the grain columns as much or concentrating in different parts of the dryer.
So before we wrap up, curious, if somebody is interested, like maybe I should consider this, is it like a case of matching combine capacity, storage capacity? Like there's kind of an all look here before you decide on which dryer to purchase, or how does that work?
Well, in a lot of cases, producers already have some storage equipment, some storage bins on the farm.
Yep.
So it's just trying to incorporate a dryer
to match that,
to match the size of your operation, match your combine capacity, your combining capacity, what you can take off in a day, and then having some good assistance and good information from dealers.
Yeah.
Right. We have some very reputable dealers out here in the prairies that are very capable of designing systems and can match things so you're not getting a dryer that's too big or too small for yourself.
Yep. Doing it right the first time.
Absolutely.
Right, and where do you plan on growing to? That's another important question.
Yeah. I mean, you got to look at the future. If you got kids coming on that are interested in farming, and farm's not going to get smaller, it's going to get bigger.
Yeah.
To make sure that your expansion plans for everything, whether it's the bins, if you do end up with elevator legs and whatnot, that's all taken into account.
Yeah. Money in your pocket. I like that.
Absolutely.
Ron Hayes, thanks for joining us here today. Really appreciate it.
I appreciate your time, too.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Enjoy the show. That is Ron Kleuskins from AGI. Okay, we're wrapping up here. Really appreciate AGI for having us here at Ag in Motion. Make sure you go to aggrowth.com to find out more. Some great innovations here at AGI. If you have any feedback, send me an email, shaney@realagriculture.com. Thanks, everybody, for getting real and getting connected with RealAg Radio. We'll chat again tomorrow. Cheers, everybody.